Hi, it's Benjamin Bratton, Program Director of the Terraforming think tank at the Strelka Institute in Moscow, introducing a project from our second year called KOSMOS NEKROS. The stakes of the term planetarity and the conditions to which this term refers could not be higher. For our program, the term is mobilized both in its astronomical and philosophical senses, one contextualizing the other in turn. For this, what is called space or outer space is equally important to both. It is a philosophical as well as a astronomical condition for thought. Earlier this month, that condition was put in some peril by a parade of billionaire stunts, as well as the reactions to them. That in some ways actually sort of accept the premise of these stunts while perhaps rejecting their claim on it. And what is this premise? It is that the exploration and even migration to space should be understood as a matter of exit from Earth. This is the wrong framing. It is the framing itself that also must be refused. Space is not about exit or not exit. Space is given, not an alibi. And so this exit or versus no exit framing of what is at stake for space. In some ways seems to be more intensely defended by those who are unsurprisingly critical of the billionaire first strategy than it is sometimes by those who are sympathetic to a private space industry. And it's not necessarily unexpected. The spectacle of supposed secession is also in a way symptomatic of an ancient dichotomization between down here versus up there. One that itself, this dichotomization that is one that itself should be or should have already been the first casualty of what going into space means. That history of space, that is of extraterrestrial space, outside the atmosphere of our planet, extending as far as the light can reach, has been defined by metaphors both grandiose and deeply parochial. First of all, from the perspective of a flat Earth, from which our intuitive relation to ground evolved, space seems to be up. It is, however, actually more like out. From a sphere, one goes out into space. But when space was up, it was also divine. It was the direction of heaven. It was literally where God lived, and it was where you go after you die. And as this project will show, sometimes it still is. Also, until quite recently, the presumed architecture of space was also a sphere, but one that our planet was inside of. The celestial firmament was a kind of dome or bubble in which Earth was suspended, and through holes in its shell shone light from the beyond, a spectacle that we call stars. This numinous ocean of the night sky has been not just a map of ascension, but also itself a technology for navigation and orientation. Today, we know as we gaze up into the night sky that it is also a kind of time machine, showing us light from many millions of years ago. It's also worth noting and recalling that when the first humans were gazing up at the stars, our entire solar system, itself in motion, was in a quite different location than it is now. And so their sky would look quite alien to us. What seems eternal is sometimes fleeting. So for all of these reasons and more, the question of death in space, even space as death, is fraught. It has come to mean not ascendance, but something much more imminent, physical. a threshold limit condition that defines not the transcendence of the human, but the boundaries between life and death. What can a body do and what can't it? It can do many things up to this point, up to this limit, and no more. Past this line, the practical philosophy of experimental astronautics shows the outline of what the human is and what it cannot be, where it breaks down as a system. It also shows the existential threshold of the understanding of life as itself a system, as the systemization of energy, such that the moment when someone or something that was alive becomes not alive can be deduced physically. Entropy doesn't care, finally. Also, further, this experimental astronautics also depends on terrestrial tests for extraterrestrial conditions, Biosphere 2 on the ground, for example, as well as extraterrestrial tests for terrestrial conditions, science on the ISS, for example, each simulating the other in turn. The terrestrial test simulating extraterrestrial life, extraterrestrial test simulating terrestrial life. What this project, Cosmos NEKROS, shows that and identifies each of these quite properly, I think, as a kind of mutual surrogacy. So finally, there is no planetarity without extraplanetary. There is no escape. There is no exit because there never was an outside to begin with. Only thresholds between life and death. So with that, I introduce the group, Cosmos NEKROS, who will in turn introduce the project.
Thanks for the introduction, Ben. My name is Neilson Koerner-Safrata, and I'm a video game designer living in Montreal, Canada.
Hello, my name is Adonis Leboho. I'm a writer and researcher based in London.
Hi, my name is Valeriia Tolkacheva. I'm an urban planner, also urban designer from Russia, St. Petersburg. И мы рады представить вам наше видеоэссе, исследующее пределы человеческих знаний и опыта сквозь призму космоса и смерти. Спасибо.